Bravemaker Show is hosted by Tony Gaffestone and Christina Jackson. Thanks for tuning in. It's showtime.
Hey, thanks for tuning in, everybody. It's Friday, May 28th. My name is Tony Gaffestone. I am coming at you live in Redwood City, California. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I'm wearing my green, I'm all Bravemakered out today. So I got my Bravemaker hat, green hat, my Bravemaker green shirt. I'm in my Bravemaker studio, black thing behind me with the big words Bravemaker. You cannot miss that I am a Bravemaker person today. And I'm always with my co-collaborator in banter, Christina Jackson. What's up, Christina? You're muted, my friend. You're muted. So we're going to give you a second to unmute and get you right back in there.
Here we go.
There we go. Here she comes. Here she comes. Here she comes.
Let's do intro 2.0. Hey, I'm Christina Ray Jackson, coming to you from Dublin, California, and my pronouns are he, she, they, and I'm an actor, comic book writer, singer, and yeah, it's Friday. Super excited to be here, Tony.
So every week, one of our favorite things to do to start off the show is to just kind of catch up real quick about what we've been doing to move our projects forward. Every week we ask this question of you too, our watchers and our listeners on the podcast is, how have you braved your way this week to get to your creative goal? It just takes one little thing at a time. So Christina, what have you been doing this week to brave your way?
I am braving my way by studying the Marvel ethos, and I'm watching Spider-Man Homecoming currently, and I'm dressed up actually in the old school Spider-Man shirt today. Today's cosplay is Beast meets Spider-Man. So that's the look I'm watching today. Oh yeah. If you haven't seen it. Oh yeah. You
always have to remind people that you are writing a comic right now.
I am writing a comic book right now. Yeah.
I think that's a pretty beautiful thing to consider. We kind of forget that part of our job needs to be watching and reading other work to be inspired. So as you do your creative work in the comic book genre, I think it's really great to just like the simplicity of going, I got to watch other people's stuff and other comics and other superhero journeys. So I love it.
Watch them, study them, get them into my spirit, find a way to pay homage and kind of bring some of those elements into my work. So yeah, I love that. And so that's how I'm braving my way. What about you, Tony? Are you braving your way this week?
My first feature film comes to be. Production starts in 12 days now. So I am working on my storyboards, y'all. I don't judge. I am not a drawing artist type. So it's all stick figures, but it gets the job done. My DP is going to know what's up. So yeah, I'm really trying to challenge myself to make sure I finish all my storyboards and work on my shot list, because it's part of the feature filmmaking process. So that's how I'm braving my way. I encourage you all to do that as well, one step at a time. Make your films, write your comic books, create your music. It's just all you need to do is one thing at a time, even if it's just one thing a week, right? We will make our way. All right, so before we bring in our special guest today, we're gonna check in with our friend Toby Lynn. Remember this? Toby, welcome back.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so last time we talked to you, you were just starting film school, or maybe you were a month or two in. So you finished your first year. You're back from LA, back to Northern California. Let's hear what it was like.
Yeah, it went by really fast. It was awesome. I guess I'll recap like a little bit on the past few weeks. I remember talking about in the first show that I was in, and I said that I was kind of like starting a music video and getting like that whole plan in. And we finally shot that. Took a lot of like pre-production and a lot of planning, and definitely took a lot of work, but we finally did our shoot on May 16th, which was awesome. It was like my own first set, which was awesome. I've been on sets with like friends and for like other school projects, but this was my first thing that was kind of just my own. And I had like full creative liberty on it, which was super cool. So that's kind of like the latest new project that I'm like still in awe of. So that was really awesome.
That is so exciting. So let's hear a little bit about, if you're able to share that project. Why were you passionate about it? What was it like bringing it to life and being on set, especially during COVID still?
Yeah. So it was about a 12 person set. I don't like with COVID guidelines, I think it was like about 12 people, but it was so cool. It was such a dream. And like being able to work with, I had a female director, which was awesome. She's also a Chapman freshman, well, rising sophomore now. And our DP was also a freshman. I think the whole majority of the crew were my age, which was so cool. And to work with like so many creative heads was like just so fun. And I also got to have my best friend from San Diego got to drive up and be in the video. And I had, I think like 8 extras, which were all my best friends. And so that was really cool. And just watching all of like my little drawn storyboards come to life was awesome.
Did you have stick figures too?
Kind of, maybe a little more advanced, but they weren't amazing. They weren't amazing.
All right, so I want to know. So first year of film school, like, seems like it was worth it. Seems like you liked it. What do you feel as if you took away? What kind of things project-wise are rising to the surface that you know you want to do, and do you have any upcoming plans for the summer to work on any of these?
Yeah, I think I said this probably in the first episode too, but I said like just keep writing and take risks, and I think that still stands important today. Obviously, no matter how long you've been writing, there's always like room to improve, and to just like, I don't know, taking risks has definitely been the biggest thing, and kind of stepping out of that comfort zone. There were times on set and in class where I definitely felt uncomfortable and a little pushed to my limit, but I think those are really the moments that like help you grow as an artist and as a writer and all of the above.
Risk, come on, take those risks.
Yeah,
Create.
that's how you stretch and grow. So I'm sure you had to wear 100 different hats. Which ones were your favorite now that you're out there doing it and you have experience? What did you gravitate towards?
Definitely writing. I had to take an editing class, which was fine, but over Zoom, it's definitely a challenge. So I took an editing class. Next semester, thankfully, I get to take a directing class, which is something I've never really dipped my toes into, which is awesome.
Wow.
I'm excited to do that. And just like, I'm kind of straying away from some of the technical stuff. I think it is really important and valuable to have under your belt, obviously, but definitely the writing and directing side is something I'm a lot more interested in.
For sure.
Well, that's cool. Well, thanks for bringing us along for the journey. If you want to connect with Toby Lynn, especially if you're considering film school, if you're a high school student, we've had a couple high schoolers on our intern team that are considering and or going to film school next year. Find Toby Lynn on Instagram. You can DM her, ask her any questions. Now that she is going to be a sophomore, she has some experience under her belt on being a filmmaker. We're really glad that you're here and hope that we can screen one of your films in the near future. And I know you have to go to work and you're going to be watching live. So if you have any questions for our featured guest today, put them in the chat and we'll see you hopefully soon. Have a great summer.
Toby, so good seeing you.
Thank you. Bye.
Right on. All right. Well, we are going to get to our featured guests today. They are filmmakers who have a film that we shared with you all on our social media as well as on our patron subscriber list. If you're not on our patron subscriber list, go to bravemaker.com/buzz and you would have gotten the the link to BJ's mobile gift shop today, and that was a free film that was offered by MailChimp. And we're really excited to welcome filmmaker Jason Park and actor JohnnyBoy Tellem.
Welcome to the show.
Hi guys, thank you for having us.
Absolutely. For sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is really exciting because I saw your film at Sundance, the virtual Sundance expression that happened in 2021 January because of COVID. I've been to that film fest for 8 years in a row. I love it, and I'm just always so impressed that people get in there because the odds are always working against you. So we're very excited to talk to you about it, but we always like to back up, and I'll turn it over to Christina.
Yeah, we always like to back up. So like Tony mentioned, I'm immersed in comic book land, and some of my favorite stories to hear are origin stories. So we'd love to start there. And if we could start with Jason, tell us your origin story. How did you get into the film world? Where were you born and raised? And how has your journey uniquely prepared you for the work you're doing now?
Yeah. So I'd say, I'm born and raised in Chicago, from the city, and, eventually out to the suburbs. And, my introduction to film has always been this really funny relationship I have with my mom, because she loves action movies and kind of pretty violent movies. So I was introduced to that kind of world very early on. At the same time, and this is where JohnnyBoy and I have met, because we met at church camp, and so I was raised in the church, and I was a pretty religious family, and so filmmaking was never a career option for me. And so I kind of went into college thinking I was going to be a pastor and an educator. And so I studied theology, secondary education, and history. And then I spent a year on an island as a missionary and as a teacher on the island of Palau. That year kind of recalibrated my own beliefs, my own, desires of what I wanted to do and what I wanted to do for the rest of time on this planet, I guess. And I think film has always been such an important part of my life. And so that's kind of where the journey started over there. And then after I graduated college, just moved to LA, and you do your internships and you do you PA, but at the same time I've always been writing and making short films and just learning by doing. And I think that's where I really, I'd say I got a lot of my education and experience through just working on short films and working on sets and commercials and things like that, where you just, not only from a creative standpoint, but also from a production and logistics standpoint of how this entire process works. And so, yeah, that's kind of the gist of my story, really.
I love that. Learning by doing. That's what we're all doing. We're jumping in. We got our stick figure storyboards going. Like we're out.
Oh, I totally. I saw Tony when he did it, because I get paralyzed by storyboards, but I need storyboards, and like my drawing is horrendous, and like it takes me. It's so like, first of all, Tony, mad props on the stick figure storyboard. Yes. Also, you got to do what you got to do. Like. I've seen way worse. Let's just say that.
Okay, good. The imposter syndrome is real.
I mean, mine.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Why don't you share those with me afterwards so I can feel better?
No, for sure.
JohnnyBoy.
Yeah, JohnnyBoy, let's hear this origin story. And how has your journey uniquely prepared you for the work you're doing now?
So I was born in South Korea, and then I'm an only child, and me and my parents, we moved to America when I was about 13. And then from there, basically, I grew up in the suburbs of Atlanta, Georgia. And then so, I graduated college with a mass media arts degree. So basically, since high school, I was into video a lot. So I was making lots of silly YouTube videos, to like now that got a little more serious, to the point where I really fell in love with the editing part of the video. And so I think I started to realize that this is something I could do for the rest of my life, which was kind of just a visual storytelling. And so senior year in high school is where I kind of decided to kind of just continue pursuing this, because it was a lot more fun than what I initially was gonna do, which was like a typical, like an Asian American kid growing up, be like, yo, you can either be a doctor or a dentist or lawyer, otherwise, you're really kind of failing right now. You know what I mean? So I was like, I don't like that. So ever since like going into college, that was kind of like me. And then after graduating college, I got a corporate job as a video producer in the software company. But then quickly after starting that, I realized that I am not made to just work for somebody or an organization for the rest of my life. Basically, I realized that I am kind of destined to like be my own boss kind of thing. So I wanted to do more fun stuff instead of just making these boring corporate videos that you have no even like a creative control over, really. You're just like doing what you're told to, and then get a pat on the back, and that was it. And so I was like, I want to do like music videos, I want to do like documentaries, I want to work on these creative pieces like all these other cool people that I see online are doing. Like, why am I the only one stuck in this like cubicle type of thing? I mean, but that job was amazing. I learned a lot. I learned a lot from the coworkers, the boss. They're all generous. And when I told them after like 2 years that I want to start my own little, creative agency / company to just like, run my own thing back in Atlanta, they were all supportive of it. So, I definitely had to learn a little bit. And then, so when in 2018 is when I first like started out freelancing, basically being my own boss. And later that year is when Jason hit me up to with this BJ's Mobile Gift Shop role, while I was going through this major like a first year turmoil of being an entrepreneur. And the role of the role I was playing in Jason's film was very, very much similar already. So I'm like, bro, you wrote this for me. Like, what are you doing? What's going on? So and Jason, like he mentioned, we go kind of back in the past where we met up at like a church campus stuff. So we had a pretty long friendship in terms of lengthwise, but then we kind of lost in touch. But then like when we kind of met back up through this film, we kind of realized we were both at a different place, kind of like more matured, more like kind of marinated a little bit as like artists, I would say. And so I was like, yeah, dude, I am totally down to help you out with this film, because Jason was telling me, he's like, yeah, I was kind of thinking about your personality, and like this kind of, I think, fits you and like really nobody else. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, this is like perfect for me right now, because I can relate to the whole thing about your script. It's like my life right now. It's crazy, it gets really stressful trying to make one sale, like getting one client, right? You know what I mean? And then like get the negotiation to go to work, and then you do work for them and get paid. All this takes a lot of energy. And so it was crazy how things happen like that. So yeah, I guess that's kind of how from my perspective in my life, like this is how BJ's Mobile Gift Shop project kind of fell into my lap, which is pretty cool.
Sounds kind of divine. You got some filmmaker who studied theology writing a story that seems kind of prophetic into your life. That's really cool. So let's talk about the film. Those of you who are watching live or who are listening on the replay, the link will be in the show notes, or it's currently in the chat right now. And if you are live and you have questions for either of these two about the making of BJ's Mobile Gift Shop, please throw them in there. Let's talk about, where this came from you, Jason, as the writer and the director of the film. And I want to dive into filming in Chicago, which I'm from. So I definitely had an endearment to me seeing all the buildings on Michigan Avenue and stuff. But yeah, share about how the idea came to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really, try and make it an interesting answer, but it was kind of a culmination of I came after I did a short film a year before that was a tough process, not necessarily from, anything dramatic or extreme. It was just more so of, finding the right footing underneath for me as a filmmaker, and like how to, extract a vision that's in your head and how does that play out and how do you execute it. And I think, so much is made. It was my first short film with a budget, and so it was, there's so much expectations and hopes that are put into the film that are not necessarily related to quality or just being in the moment of making that film. And so I think after that whole process, I just really, and this was about my 5th year in LA, and I think I was just missing home. I wanted to go back to Chicago, and I always wanted to make a film out there because I find the city to be so cinematic.
Yeah.
And there's such an incredible texture to the city and to Chicago that I felt like I haven't seen, at least from my point of view. And so, and also, BJ as a character is a unique individual in that I feel like we also haven't really seen that kind of character, this Korean American, Midwesterner, blue collar hustler, if you want to phrase it that way, that, very much I was very comfortable and accustomed with because that was my experiences growing up, not just necessarily me, but that's just the way the city is and just the way the population is. And, whether you're Asian American or whatever minority you are, we all kind of embody that Chicago quality. And so that was a big part of it, to do something like that and do something a bit original and something that felt a bit like home and, do something that was cheap. I know BJ's is a longer short film. And so sometimes I think there's this natural assumption that the budget must have been bigger and things like that. But I promise you, this was a very guerrilla style quality of filmmaking. And JohnnyBoy knows this because we literally were running around.
Did you have any permits, or was it just get that camera up and start rolling?
Well, I will say Chicago is such a friendly filmmaking city that our crew was small enough where they let us not have to worry about permits. And they gave the city of Chicago, the film board gave us this letter and just said, hey, if you come up with any issues or anything like that, it's fine. Don't worry about it. And we fully took advantage of that. If you watch the film, so many of our locations are in the middle of Michigan Avenue. It's, Magnificent Mile in like the week or 2 weeks before the holidays. So, we don't have anywhere near capacity to shut any of those areas down. So, because we had that freedom and that luxury, we just kind of planted ourselves in different locations and just try to figure it out. We had some moments, of course, that was a bit insane, but like you do on any film set, you adjust and adapt and get what you need to get. And hopefully it just works out in the edit.
I love it. I love watching it. I love watching all the locations and the movement and the people and the hustle that this character has. And especially just thinking about how true of a life it was for you, JohnnyBoy. It's really cool to hear how that really enveloped for you.
I've never been to Chicago, but you made the city look
spectacular.
It just looks, and it made me want to go during the holidays. So I'd love to know, why was this particular story important for you to tell? What do you want viewers to take away from this besides wanting to book a flight to Chicago?
I mean, I legitimately want the city of Chicago to use me as their, some sort of tourist director, because I feel like I can, that's literally what this was just to make Chicago look as beautiful as possible. No, I think
you did.
Thank you. I mean, a lot of that goes to the credit to our DP, Brendan Hogue, who just killed it. He's a Chicago-based DP over there as well. I think with the film, honestly, it's one of those weird things where we really didn't have some sort of agenda or message that we were trying to really hone in on, other than just really just kind of making, exploring this portrait of a character that I felt like was someone we hadn't seen before. And I think this very peculiar crossroad between regional minority in America. And I think that to me means a lot, because that is first and foremost who I am. I'm, obviously being an Asian American, Korean American, but I'm also a Midwestern. I'm a Chicagoan. That is part of my identity and my blood. And so that was a really big part of this process. And, someone like JohnnyBoy, who, I've always associated with Atlanta, the South, and, he has that connection to that region as well. And so I think that was something that was easily transferable, and I could communicate to JohnnyBoy as like how important this was in terms of like, how does this define the character? And yeah, I think that was kind of, I don't know, I guess that was kind of the biggest thing that we were hoping to do.
I love that this was very character driven, and we haven't seen many characters like BJ, and yet I related to him so much, especially the way he interacted with his family and what his priorities were. And you could feel that all came across in the movie, and that was also beautiful and relatable. So fantastic. I love that. Focus on the character and share that character story, and let the city be a beautiful backdrop, which it was. Such spectacular shots. Shout out to your DP again. Yeah,
shout out to Brandon.
Yeah.
I don't usually compliment him because I just like giving him a hard time. But yes, no, he killed it at this.
Killed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, JohnnyBoy, about your process, but real quick, how many days did you shoot? What did you shoot on?
It was a 4-day shoot, and we shot on an Alexa Mini.
Great. Yeah, it looks great. I can tell, I love the handheld feat nature of it. And it did feel like, could they have done this in 2 days or 1 day even? But yeah, I was really curious. It definitely felt flow. I always look for continuity stuff, because I know as a filmmaker, that's hard when you're trying to do this long, short film over the context of so many days to keep it all. But it definitely had the movement, and it was engaging. And I really liked it. That's why when I saw it at Sundance, which I want to talk about that experience for you, I was like, oh, this is perfect. This is perfect for Bravemaker. We look for films that elevate justice, diversity, and inclusion. And again, I'm not Asian, or like someone like BJ would be having to hustle, in this space of selling, products on the street. But as an entrepreneur, as a filmmaker, it definitely got my heart. I felt like he felt sitting across from that job interview many times. Do I fit in? Like, where is my spot? I don't feel like I'm the 9-to-5 guy, and I've had to brave my own way and build my own house kind of thing. And so, knocking on all the doors. Right. And I really appreciated that. So JohnnyBoy, I'd love to hear you talk about that. Talk about, bringing the character to life and working with Jason specifically. I would love to hear what worked for you as an actor under his directorial influence, because I'm going to be directing, some actors in a couple weeks, and I'd love to take some of those tips with me. What worked really great as an actor as you develop this character under Jason?
Be nice, Johnny.
All right, I'll try. No, really, it's kind of weird calling myself an actor, because I'm really, I'm not really pursuing acting per se, but this role itself, that Jason kind of created for me, was so compatible with who I already was and am. So that was the first thing that made everything just a smooth, like a beginning, like a working relationship with Jason and this project. It was because I didn't have to do anything too like out of my I don't want to say comfort zone, but just I didn't have to fake too many things, right? So it was already like structured in a way where everything was organic, and we just have to make a few pivots where how would BJ as a character, knowing his family background and his like motives, would do, right? And so that's where I had to kind of make some little distinction between like who I am as a person and BJ. So it wasn't too far off of a change that I had to make, which was fun and like a smooth experience. So I think when I came to Chicago, we had about 2-3 days of buffer before we started like our official shoot days. So that's when Jason basically was like the greatest tour guide for me of Chicago during my whole stay in Chicago. I think that was my third time, I think, being in Chicago, but that was like the statement time where it's like, all right, Chicago is like probably my favorite city at this point, right?
Wow.
So Jason really helped me feel that way by taking me to like all these like food joints before and after like the shoots, and like it was just a good time. So I guess like the first 2 days before the shoot, we met up, just constantly just talked about the story and the BJ, and then who I am, and then just kind of going back to it to continue to kind of fine tune me and both of us, so we can both get into the character and into the story. And it just, at that point, we're just like, all right, we just have to just go with it, because everything was kind of guerrilla style, like Jason said too. So we just had to make it happen with what we had.
I'll say this too about our Johnny and I literally walked the entire location list in one day, from Lincoln Park to the Loop to certain parts of Michigan Avenue. We literally did locations. I mean, we literally walked it through and just talked through the story and the script while we were doing that. So I first and foremost am grateful that Johnny wasn't against walking throughout the entire city of Chicago during the winter. But also, like, Johnny says he's not an actor, but there's a reason why I could only think of him for this part, and that was mainly because Johnny is very comfortable in front of the camera. I don't know if he'll hate me for this, but he's done some fantastic videos of him where he's in front of the camera. And so, I've seen that for years from him. And so I think there's a fearlessness to him as a person that really crosses over to BJ as the character. And, once you kind of have that, that essential quality to someone, like, I was like, yeah, this is only one person who can do this. So, but yeah, if anyone's out there, you should really check out JohnnyBoy's music videos and him in front of the camera. If they're still out there, he might have taken them down, but if he did, shame on him, because they're a treasure.
Yeah, I want to jump in there and say, JohnnyBoy, there is a sincerity in your eyes when you are in front of the camera, and it's beautiful and it's captivating. Very nice work.
Oh, thank you so much. It's it takes one to see it, so that means you know what I mean. So you got this, you got the same eyes.
Well, you made a miracle. They say making a film is a miracle, with all the things coming together, with how many things go wrong and Murphy's Law. And then you get the email or the call that you get selected for Sundance. What was that like? As filmmakers, it's an amazing honor.
I honestly forgot that we submitted to Sundance. And I don't say that in like this this superficial way. I truly I think the moment you submit to Sundance, it's just one of those things where you I think just to protect yourself emotionally, you just kind of accept the fact that it's not going to happen, right? It's a pipe dream. Just statistically, I think it's less than 1% of a chance of you getting in with a short film.
Wow.
And so, I think you just kind of, and I've gone, and this is not my first film that I've submitted to Sundance. And so, you kind of go through this motion of you submitted, you did your best, hopefully you submitted the best cut, to them. And then you kind of just let it go and just move on and figure out the next step and whatever you're doing after this. And so when Mike Plant, who's the Sundance short film programmer, when he called me, I legitimately didn't understand why he was calling me. I was like, short film, Sundance? I was so confused for a good 30 seconds. And I think after that initial shock, you're just kind of in a daze. And especially for BJs, because, JohnnyBoy knows this, we really, I think this comes off, we really didn't have any sort of expectations or desires to do anything with BJ's other than just make it.
Sure.
You know, I think just making it was such a, you know, a challenge, but that was kind of the goal. You know, our production budget was $5,000. So I'm sure you guys know that's not a lot of money, especially on a 4-day shoot. So the fact that we even got a finished product was one thing, but to get into Sundance was truly a surreal moment, and it was a lot of fun to let, you know, Johnny and Juliana, our amazing producer, and Brandon, and, you know, our post-production team, to know that, like, hey, we got in. Don't know how, but we got in. So that was probably the most fun process of that, in terms of like finding out and getting in.
Sharing the news.
Yeah, I think everyone was equally shocked as I was that this happened. So.
And then did you feel some sort of like, but it's online? So talk about that process. Did you get to do some panel discussions? Did you have some people reaching out that it helped move your work forward?
I mean, I say so. I feel like, you know, obviously everyone wants to go to these festivals in person, especially like at Sundance, at Park City. Like, you know, you want to feel that environment. And I think that's especially true for features. But for short films, I felt like, and I only know what it's like to have a film virtually at Sundance, so I can't compare it to anything else. But it really felt like this was an incredible opportunity for shorts, because the exposure and the amount of accessibility there was to the festival was so massive and immense that you can't replicate that for a short film in person at Sundance. And I think you can, obviously, you know, Sundance is such a name that, you know, you'll have industry execs, producers, reps, you know, seeing the film. And that's one part of the process. But I think so much of the other part is just seeing how it plays and how people react to it, and having the opportunity to see it become much more than just this and I don't think Sundance tries to, but can come off as this exclusive environment or event. You know, I think as a short filmmaker, and, you know, for Johnny, for the crew, for us to experience it together, though not physically, but to see it kind of all play out that way. Honestly, it was kind of sick. You know, it was cool. Of course, there's moments where you wish you want to be there together and you want to be there in person, but like, you know, I had a lot of fun, and I thought Sundance did a great job of accomplishing a virtual film festival that felt like an event, which is really hard. Johnny, I don't know if Johnny, if you had different experiences or if you agree.
No, 100%. Yeah, that was it. And yeah, I think they did a really good job, like doing this whole virtual thing where it's almost like a game, because you can like move with the little keyboard. You have a character, you can like move around, go to these things, and then you can meet other people. So yeah, I think they did a really good job.
Right on. Well, we got time for one more question. Christina, what do you got?
Can I get two more? Okay, so wait. So this wasn't your first Sundance submission. So what do you think set BJ's apart?
I think that is a question that I will never know. Honestly, if I can really, you know, I think when you submit a film to any festival with someone like a festival like Sundance, like, you cannot try and complete some sort of checklist, you know, and that checklist is subjective too. But honestly, like, you have to do the film that speaks to you and will, because I'll also say this, like, you know, like, on the off chance you get a film into Sundance and it is something that not necessarily embodies who you are as an artist or as a filmmaker or your voice, that's a difficult experience, because you want to make sure what your work represents you. And so, if anything, you go to a film festival like Sundance, you want to make sure that film is at some capacity something that feels honest and personable. And so, you know, for any filmmaker that's trying to do the festival, you know, game, which is really hard, you know, it truly is this undefinable, ambiguous process that you trying to just try not to let that get into any part of your creative process, because it will kill you. Like, honestly, it will. It just isn't healthy. And, you know, I think ultimately with BJ's, it was something that we all felt connected to in some capacity, and we all wanted to just make this thing and not really look at anything else besides that. And I think, you know, and also, and I keep saying this in everything, don't let money be the thing that stops you from making anything. You know, do what you have to do. You know, I know it may not be the most, you know, productive or healthiest of environments for your crew sometimes, but, you know, you got to do what you got to do, especially for shorts. So.
And features, I'll tell you that right now.
Yes.
Experiencing the
Especially for features,
the same thing. Dude, that was some hot gold you just dropped on us right now. You got to tell the story. You got to make it personal. It's got to be authentic. It's so true. And it's so subjective. We program films for our Bravemaker Film Festival. We found yours to select it. It's all about what resonates in the hearts and the minds and the souls of the people organizing that fest. And it's personal for the people creating it and crafting and curating, which makes it feel so much personal, which makes it feel so personal on the other side when you don't get selected. But you truly got to know that it is a really difficult process for everyone to put yourself out there. And I love that you're encouraging us to go make our stuff regardless of money, because that's what it's about. You gotta make it, stop waiting, get out there, brave your way. This was so great, you two. Thank you so much. Let's do our Brave Faves.
Brave Faves. TV shows, films, books, songs, technology, clothing, podcast, food, and more. These are a few of our favorite people, places, and things. Brave Faves.
All right, this is our lightning round, quick response time. What is your Brave Fave of the week, Christina?
I'm a huge lighting girl. As soon as I get into a room, I'm like, we gotta adjust the lighting. And I discovered a magnificent minimalist artist. His name is Dan Flavin. Google him, get on YouTube, check him out. His work is stunning. It's just spectacular. It's simple, it's minimalist, it's beautiful. And if you're into lighting, which Tony, I know you're a huge fan, you do some spectacular lighting setups there at the studio. Yeah, that's my Brave Fave for the week.
Right on. What about you, Johnny Boy? What do you got?
It's like a show what I've been watching and stuff. I think I've been watching a lot of animes. Does that count?
Sure, yeah, anything.
Yeah,
of course.
I've been watching One Piece. So that's the anime name, One Piece. Cool. And I've been kind of stepping away from like a lot of the shows to kind of switch up the flavor a little bit to see what's on the like totally different side of like the visual arts, right? And then take like the cinematography from like animations and then like bring that back to like my video work and things like that to be a little bit creative and more different than I guess other of my colleagues and stuff. So yeah, that would be my answer.
Brave Fave.
So shout out to One Piece people out there.
Okay, and Jason, what's your Brave Fave?
All right, I'm gonna try and keep this quick, but I'm gonna have to say like 5 different things. First, foremost, Underground Railroad, Barry Jenkins.
Yep.
You know, fantastic book by Colson Whitehead. I haven't finished it yet, but it's immense work on Amazon Prime. So you should definitely check that out. And then I rewatched Jackie Brown by Quentin Tarantino, which is incredible work and I think is an underrated Tarantino. And then just throwing some art film there is Taste of Cherry by Kiarostami, which is fantastic. But
nice. List them all out. We will have that on our social media. We'll do our best to do all of those ones. Mine is real simple. It's called The Perfect Bar. I love peanut butter, y'all. If you like peanut butter, it's like a full-on bar of peanut butter. It's a protein bar, and it's so delicious. But it does have a lot of sugar in it. I read the things for all you health nuts. So, but I apologize. All good, right?
All good.
All right. So, hey, thanks so much to JohnnyBoy Tellem and Jason Park for joining us today. You know, Bravemaker is a nonprofit organization, and so we rely on your generosity to do what we do. We would love it if you go to bravemaker.com/donate and check us out. You can also use your phone. Just text the word Bravemaker to 44321, and you can give on your phone at any time, any day. This show is produced by Alexandra Todd and Jessica Musgrave, and my co-host, Christina Jackson. You can find her online. Don't forget to support #KRay Cosplay to find all of her amazing things, and go watch BJ's mobile gift shop if you have not already. And that's our show.
That's our show. Actually, before we go, though, we got to spread love, and we got to talk about the hate crimes that are going on in the Asian community and the Black community. We wouldn't be a social justice company if we didn't talk about it. So everyone, please have the hard conversations, make the tough decisions, spread love and not hate. Okay, enough hate crimes. Enough. That's my piece. Yeah, enough.
Right on. Well, as we go, you're going to see a trailer for our film festival, which starts June 5th, all online as well, all on demand, 30 different features, shorts, documentaries, animations, live action. We're really proud of the filmmakers who've been selected for our 3rd annual film festival. So go to bravemaker.com/film festival to watch those films. And JohnnyBoy and Jason, we will see you right after the end here. We'll take a quick picture. But that's all we got, everybody. So thanks. Brave stories change the world.
Everyone.
And you're the story. Thank you, guys.
See ya.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at bravemaker.org. Like, subscribe, and share. To become a monthly donor, text the word BraveMaker to 44321 or go to bravemaker.com/donate. Thanks for tuning in.